Thank you for joining IT certificates in our training courses for ISO 27001 foundation course. Today is the first session for the course, and in the ISO 27001 foundation training course, we will cover the basics and definitions, some basics and definitions for the ISO and for security. Also, we will discuss about the ISMS, which is the Information Security Management Systems. We will discuss the standard, the ISO 27001 standard, and the clauses of the ISO and the Annex A. Annex A, this is the name of the controls for the ISO 27001. Also, we will have some appendices. Appendix A, it will cover the mandatory documentation for the ISO 27001, and the last step to browse together what will be your next step in the ISO 27001 certification, and how you can achieve the certification, and what are your interests related to the ISO 27001 lead implementation or lead auditor. What is our training objectives? Our training objective to have a continuous relationship with the trainees. Our main objectives, my friends, here, it's not just to go through these slides and it's done. This is not our objective. Our objective to have a continuous relation with all of you. We want to be a mentor for you if you want to have more information about specific certificates, about security concepts, basics, trainings, certificates, whatever. Then we want and we will be ready to help you and provide you the necessary help through email, through WhatsApp, or even mobile calls. I think all my contact information available with you. Also, we want to share our experience with the new generations. For me, I have 30 years in IT field. I am working in security field almost for the last 20 years. I had a lot of implementations, and I have a lot of certificates in the IT security field. I made a mix and match between the security experience and the academic experience as well, and my role now is to share this mix with you and to make the new generations understand security, because security, it's not a complicated issue. Security, it is very simple, but it requires people to understand security in a proper way, and I am quite sure that you will find security as a passion. It's not a career. We want to provide you a cost-effective security. We can understand the dilemma which you are facing. And we faced the same scenario as well. Of course, all of us, our salaries, it's not a big amount, but when you want to attend any training course, you can find this training course maybe 700, 800 US dollars, and this will be very expensive. Then you are not able to provide the necessary fees for these courses. What we are looking for, that we want to provide you these courses for free. And of course, you know that you are attending this ISO 27001 course, it's for free. And we have other courses as cryptography, risk assessment, risk management, a lot of other cloud security, a lot of other courses which are for free as well. Also, we are providing very cost-effective security training courses for certifications as CISSP, CCSP, CEH, Security Plus, and other courses. Usually, it's 1/3 of the actual price in the market. If the market, we are providing these courses for $900 or $800, usually we are providing this for $300 only. We want to help the trainees to pass the certifications exams. Certifications exam, as we mentioned, for CISSB and CCSB and others, it's very simple. And by the way, to pass the exam, it's not difficult, by the way. If you would follow up the methodology, which I will define it to you, you will pass the exam from the first time. What I am saying now, it's not promises, and it's not just magic words, which I want to act as a smart person in front of you. No, gentlemen, this is practical. I am working in this field since 30 years. I know exactly how you can pass the exams. Believe me when I tell you that there is no certificate which is it's complicated. All the certificates are very simple. CISSB, CEH, just name it, CCSB, Security Plus, just name it. But you have to follow up a proper methodology. If you will follow the right methodology, you will pass the exam. Very simple. And I can share this methodology with you to tell you exactly what you have to do. And by the way, I have some of my trainees who attend some courses with me and they passed the exam, and it was a piece of cake. Okay, we want to understand security basics and concepts. Of course, we are caring about passing the exams. All of us need a certificate. We want to apply for a better job, and certificates, it will be the best way to show them our experience. But I can understand this, and I totally agree with all of you about that, and usually all of us doing this here. But also, it is very important, I want you to understand the basics and concepts of the security. Just, I don't want you to concentrate on passing exams. No, this is not only the target. I am not here to let you pass the exam. If you want to pass the exam, I can provide you the information within few minutes, and I can guarantee that you will pass the exam. But now I want you to understand the security basics and concepts. When I ask you about what is the meaning of this or that, I don't want to hear a story. Oh, this it's act as something. And when you start to say stories, this means that you don't understand. But I want you to know that security is very simple. When I ask you what is this, it is so and so. Very simple. As you can, we will see later. Then please understand the concepts and basics, because this will make the difference between the good engineer and the normal engineer. I don't want to say a bad engineer, but I would say a normal engineer. Also, we want to mentor our trainees in the security IT field. Security IT field, we have a lot of specialization. Which specialization do you like better? Which specialization which you can find yourself there more? What is the next step? What are the other courses which you require to attend, and so on? This information, it will be very important. We want to mentor you for the training courses and what are the necessary training courses which you have to attend. What is the training goals and responsibilities? Please feel free to ask any time. If you have any question, stop me immediately. I will answer all your questions. I don't have anything called trivial question, because I am quite sure whatever any question is very important, because it will make a big difference in understanding the concept itself. Even if we have a problem in the communication, you don't want to say it verbally. Some people, they are don't like to ask verbally. Then write whatever you want in the chat. I can see that I have two comments in the chat. I will open the chat right now and read all of them. Then please, if you have any question, just raise your question, or you can type in the chat and I will answer this question in the chat. The second point, please share your experience with us. If you had any scenario, if you had any problem, if you faced any case in your work, even if you did not know how to solve it, just raise the case. And if we think together about it, this means that we will get a lot of experience together when we share these scenarios together. We will have an attendance certification. It will be provided for all of you. But please, it's very important to understand that in IT certificates, we are respecting our certificates. And I will not give any certificate to anyone until he attends all sessions. He will attend all sessions. And of course, our session for each day, we are 3 hours. Then please don't say I attend 1 hour and the other 2 hours I did not attend, and all this stuff, it's not accepted at all. Then if you want to receive your attendance certificate, I am very clear and I am saying now, if you want to attend, to receive your attendance certificate, then please attend the course. Then please attend the full training course. Suddenly you will find that I will hold on, I will take the attendance. This is considered the attendance, formal attendance for us. This attendance, it can be taken first thing when we start the session, it may be in the second session, third session, it depends. Suddenly I will stop everything, take the attendance, and this it will be the attendance for the day. And also this it will be happen 2 or 3 times. Then I will be able to monitor. We are respecting our certificates. We are doing these courses because I want to guarantee that the person who will receive this certificate, he will be able to prove that he understands the concepts, he understands the material. Then this is very important. Attendance is very important. I am not here to provide a training as the training center that pay me some money, and even if you will sleep on the desk, I don't care. I will give you attendance certificate later. This, it's not our system at all. Okay. Of course, after the training course, I will send you a URL where you have to evaluate the course, write your full name as you want to see it in the attendance certificate. If I review your attendance for the 3 days and I find that you attend all the courses and you filled the evaluation, then immediately within 2 or 3 days, you will receive your attendance certificates by email. Retraining evaluation, as we mentioned, it will be very important. Also, there will be a recorded video. It will be uploaded to the channel. I will upload the training courses. As you can see now, we are recording. This recording, it will be uploaded into our YouTube channel. Please subscribe in the YouTube channel. This, it will be very informative. You will find a lot of training courses and uploaded information, which it will help you too much in the understanding security basics and concepts. Review the video at least once after the course and before the exam if you are preparing to attend the ISO 27001 foundation exam. Although foundation exam, it is not so valuable because it is very basic, but there are some people who are saying something better than nothing. Anyway, the exam, it will cost you $250 US. This, of course, it's not under my responsibility. I have nothing to do here. All what you have to do, I will give you the website where you have to log in, purchase the exam, and schedule the timing for the exam if you are interested for. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can contact me, as we mentioned, by email, by WhatsApp, by mobile phone, and you have all my contact information. This is a screen for bio for myself. My name is Osama. I am working as security and communication engineer. I am working in this field since 1992. I have CISSP, Security Plus, CCSB, BMB, ISO 27001, ISO 27005, risk management. I have a bunch of these certificates, and as I told you, I am not depending upon these certificates as academic, but these certificates are built on my practical experience because I am working with my hands in the field. I touched a lot of firewalls, I touched a lot of IPS, VPN, SSL, a lot of devices starting from Cisco, PIX firewall. I don't know if you are familiar with this device because it was an old model of the ASA firewall from Cisco. It was I worked with this device in year 2000, I think, and year 2000 almost. Now we have the ASA and the ASA new generation. I work with Palo Alto. I work with a lot of devices, Juniper, a lot of other devices. They are very interesting, and we will go through some of them in the next few slides. Okay, before we starting the course, just I want to tell you exactly how the training it will work. We will have 3 hours every day for 3 days, and we will have 50 minutes as 50 minutes as a session, and we will have 10 minutes as a break. In some situation, we may increase the 10 minutes into 15 if we had a complicated or long session. It depends upon the course itself. Okay, let me have a look on the chart before starting the course. As we agreed, please feel free to ask the questions. Please feel free to write whatever you want in the chart, and I will open the chart when I find any new charts, and I will answer all your questions. Muhammad Sharqawi, thanks for sharing the knowledge. Jazakallah khair. Iyana wa iyakum. Thank you, Muhammad, very much. Please don't forget us in your prayer. And I think this is our duty. We have to provide the help for others as well. Jangir Khan, thanks. Allah
build a new Afghanistan.
I'm really sorry, I cannot hear the voice properly.
Tom Stafford out to 0, Kabul.
On Spain's Canary Islands, a volcanic eruption on La Palma is continuing to destroy property there.
I think we have a problem with the sound. I mute all of you. Then please make sure that you are not unmute by yourself by mistake. I had a message, all right, inshallah, 100% attendance. Thank you. And I hope that the training, it will be informative for all of you. Please don't hesitate to ask your questions. I'm here to answer all your questions. Okay. What is our course outlines? The course outlines, we will have module number 1 for basics and definitions. We will cover the basics and definition module right now, and we have some important information which I want to share it with you, and just I want to keep it in your mind because we will build our training course based on this information. First of all, what is information? What is information? Information, it is an asset. Information, it's an asset, or any asset which has a value to the organization. It is any asset which has a value for organization. Okay, and needs to be protected from attacks, of course, and it can be stored in different media. It is very important to understand that when we are speaking in the ISO, in general ISO, not ISO 27001 only, when speaking about ISO 2700, we are speaking about the information. It is not only digital information. It does not cover only digital information. It can be information written on a paper, or it may be spoken. And for example, we had a meeting with our CEO, and the CEO, he mentioned very important information, and we have a recording for this meeting. When this meeting, it has some important information which is considered as an asset, and this asset, it's a valuable information for the organization. When the information, it is an asset, has a value for the organization, it can be stored in digital format, it can be stored on a hard disk, on application, on a database, or whatever. It can be written on a paper, or it can be in spoken form, it can be a video, it can be an audio, whatever. Then the only point which I want to highlight here, that the information, it's information in general, it's not digital information. Okay. What is the CIA? What is the CIA triad? CIA triad, my friend, this is very important. Any person who is working in security field must understand this concept very well. And please, when I ask you what is the confidentiality, don't tell me a story. Confidentiality, the data, I don't want anyone to read it. The person who will read it, this is not authorized. When you start to say stories, make sure that you are not understanding the concept properly. Because the concept, it is very simple. For example, what is confidentiality? Confidentiality is prevent unauthorized users from data access. That's it. Prevent unauthorized users from data access. You are preventing unauthorized access for your data. Very simple like that. It is very simple like that. You are preventing unauthorized access for your data. Nothing less, nothing more. Okay. Then the confidentiality that you have data, you have very important data, it may be stored on a hard disk, it may be a paper or whatever, then you have to allow the authorized access for this data only. There is one important concept here, my friends, which I want to highlight here. One of the wrong concepts which you may have that the confidentiality means encryption. You have to encrypt the data. Of course, this is not the right concept. Confidentiality, of course, you can protect the data by using encryption, that's right, but this is not the only concept for protecting the data. Access control, it can be a method of protecting data. Access control, which we call it the IEEE, which is the identification, authentication, and identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting. This means that you have to authorize the user, you have to authenticate the user, make sure that the user, he is the person who claims he is, he has the right permission to access the data, and you are recording all the activities on the data which he is doing. These are very important information which we want to keep it in our mind. Okay, what is the second concept? The second concept is the integrity. CIA, the second concept is integrity. What is the integrity? Again, the integrity, it is very simple. Prevent unauthorized data change. You have data, you are not allowing the users to make any changes without authorization or without a permission, because this, it can be a hacker who will make the changes, or it may be unauthorized user, he will make the changes. Then this means that you want to make sure that the data, it is integrated. There is no changes happen for the data. This is a very important feature. You have to keep it in your mind, and if there is any user who wants to access the data, he should be authenticated, he should be authorized, and the data should be protected against any changes. If these changes are not authorized, then integrity, it will be preventing unauthorized data changes. Finally, the availability, and I think availability is a very simple concept, which it will be ensuring the data availability to users and applications. Then when the data it's required, it should be available at any time for authorized users, of course, for authorized users. This is the CIA triad for the security: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your question or type it in the chat. Okay, we have another concept which is very important, my friends, and I want your concentration here. What is this? This is the difference between policy, standard, procedure. This is very important. When you are working with security, with ISO, this we call it security concept. This we call it security management. We call it security management, sorry, not security concept, security management. In security management, it is very important to understand the differences between policy, standard, and procedure. Even there are some others as guidelines, baselines, but the most important for me here, policy, standard, procedure. What is the policy? Policy, this is the intent or the requirements of the management for a specific topic. And for example, if I say a security policy, then this means that the requirements or the intent of the management for the security in the organization. For example, the management want to protect the data. They want to protect the data in all states if it's stored on server, on desktop, on hard disk, on desktop, moving over the internet. They want to be compliant with the regulations. They want to be compliant with local regulations. When these are the policies which are required by the security team. These are the requirements required by, sorry, not security team, the management team, required by the management team. These are the requirements by the management team. It is very important to understand that it's very important to understand that the policy, it shows the intent of the management for the security in the organization. The policy, it shows the intent of the management for the security in the organization. This is very important. Why? Because the policy, it will show you as a security professional what is required from security. The management, we have to tell you, we have to protect the assets, we have to be compliant with the standards, we have to be compliant with laws and regulations, we have to protect the data, we have to provide for data 24/7, for example, and this means that that you have to provide the information for the users or the security administrator that when they make a design for any solution, they have to provide availability solution, they have to provide active standby or active devices, because the management, we mentioned that data, it should be available, for example, 24/7 for the users and customers. Then, as we mentioned, the policy, it states the intent of the management for security requirements in the organization. Okay, that's fine. But now when the management, we mentioned something, we want to protect the data. This is not a technical, my friends. This is not a technical, it's a management requirement, it's not a technical. I want to take this as requirement and put it in a technical form. And this is the rule of the standard. The standard, it is the document of requirements. When the management mentioned in the policy that we want to have the data to be protected, then in the standard, it will mention, okay, I have to states of the data at rest and data in transient. If it's data at rest, then I want to use, for example, the IPsec. I want to use the IPsec. And if you have the at transient, this means that the data is exchanged over a network or maybe exchanged over the internet, then this means that I have to use the TLS and SSL. Look here, now we start to speak some technical expressions. In the policy, it was in general that I want to have the data to be protected. But when I go to the standard, it mentioned that based on the policy requirement that you have to protect the data, it should be encrypted at rest using IPsec, and the key, for example, it should be 2K, for the key, and at the transient, you should use TLS or SSL. Then we start here to find some more definitions for the standards, technical expressions for standard. Another standard, for example, it will say an organization. If we have organization with two levels of employees, normal and management, the management, you have to provide them.
Your voice interrupted.
Sorry, can you repeat what did you say, because I did not hear your voice? If you are not able to speak, you can write it, please, in the chat. Again, your voice, it's not clear. Then in the standard, we will start to have more technical information, more specs. As we mentioned that the standard for your organization, it may define that for management, you can provide them notebooks. This notebook with 8 GB RAM, SSD hard disk. For the normal employee, it will be notebooks with 4 GB RAM, normal hard disks. This again is standard. There may be another standard. It mentioned that if you want to use server operating system, you have to use Windows 2016 with patches 3.x.5 or whatever. But these are the standards. There is one point here which you have to keep it in your mind, my friends. The standards, we have two different types of standards. Let me have a look on the chart first, where I will tell you what are types of the standards. Voice is break, sir, not clear. My friends, do you have a problem with my voice? Is it common for all of you, or it's only for Changer?
It is clear to us.
Clear from my side.
Okay, I'm afraid, Changer, that it is not from my side, it's from your side, because the others, as you can see from their comments, that I can hear you clearly. Then this means that you have a problem maybe with your speaker or connection. If you still have the same problem, I really appreciate if you can disconnect your connection and connect again. Usually the problem may be solved. Okay. We have two different types of standards. What are these two different types of standards? We may have local standard and international standard. If the standard is developed in your organization to be applied inside the organization, what is the type of the desktop we have to provide for users, managers? What is the type of the operating system of desktop? What is the type of operating system of servers? What is the type of applications? What are the specs of application, whatever, to be applied in the organization? These are internal standards, and this will be implemented for your organization. It will manage the relation between the IT department and the other divisions in the organization. And there may be some other connections in the other standards as the ISO 27001. This is a standard one. This standard one. What does it mean? Standard one, this means that it is international standard. You have to, they will define some requirements, as we mentioned. What is the standard? The standard is the document of requirements. Document of requirements. As we mentioned here, it is document of requirement. Then, when we say document of requirements, we have some specific requirements. If you are able to define these requirements, or configure these requirements of your organization, then you will be able to be audited and certified against these requirements that you are ISO 27001 compliance. And we will see all these requirements in starting from tomorrow, inshallah. Then this is the definition of the standard. Finally, the definition of the procedure, it is the very simply is the step-by-step guidelines. And for example, we mentioned that the standard in the policy, that the management, they said that you have to protect the data, and in the standard, the technical information that you have to protect the data by using IPsec, and the key length, it should be 2K and all this stuff. But how you can make this configuration on a firewall, how you can configure the IPsec in the IPS, how you can configure IPsec if it's required, or in other devices or the network and so on. Then this will give you the steps for configuring the IPsec configuration on the device. Details, step by step, step by step. Step number one, do this procedure, the second procedure, third procedure, until you will be able to configure the IPsec for all the appliances. Okay. We will start module number 2 now. And in module number 2, just I want to give you the definition of ISMS. What is ISMS? Gentlemen, when we are saying ISO 27001, ISO 27001, it's an auditing system. It's a standard. It is coming to audit something. It is coming to improve the implementation of other management systems. We want to make sure that you are able to implement other management system properly. What is the management system which we want to implement here and we want to audit it? Again, it's 27001. It is the Information Security Management System. Information Security Management System, ISMS. ISMS. What is ISMS? ISMS, it is approach, systematic approach. This systematic approach, it consists of how to protect and manage your information. It is a systematic approach for managing and protecting your organization information. Then I have an organization, the organization, we have information. This information, it can be reside in applications, it can reside in desktop, in storage, in papers, videos, audio, whatever. As we mentioned in ISO, when we speak about information, this means that information in all formats. And the ISMS, it is required to manage and protect the organization information. ISMS, it's not application. I don't say that it's an application where you have to protect your data. No, it's an approach. SMS, it consists of policies, standards, procedures, and it consists of documentation where it will describe the security rules in the organization. What is your role in the organization to protect the data as employee, as manager, as supervisor, as owner, as director, and what are your responsibilities for protecting these data? And what are the security controls which we have? We may have some security controls which it will protect the data. It can be technical, it can be administrative, it can be, for example, a firewall, it can be IPS, it can be VPN, it can be passwords length, it can be password age, whatever the controls which it will be used for protecting your data. Then you have to think about the ISMS. It's not an application, because there are a lot of people they are thinking that ISMS it's an application. It can be an application, but the ISMS itself is an approach, it's a methodology how to protect your data, how to protect your data. by defining policies, by defining the standards, by defining procedures, by defining security rules and responsibilities for each person, define the type of the controls required to protect the data as well. Yeah, this will be important information, that it will be information. It is not only in digital format. It can be on a paper. It can be in video. It can be spoken in form MP3, whatever it is. Okay. As we mentioned, what are the steps for the ISMS approach? You must have first step, you must have the policies, procedures, standards, and all the other security controls documents. Then you have to define the organization, mission, objectives, goals, processes, and activities, and make the necessary risk assessment. These are the required steps to define the security controls. What are the required security controls? Then you have to define the risks, and you have to monitor the risks and control. This is very important, although this is a very simple diagram, but it is very important because it is summarizing the whole concept of the ISMS. First of all, you have to define the policies, procedures, standards, and this it will define the intent of the management for protecting the organization assets. And of course, with the management, it will define these organization assets. It's not only as a technical, this it will be the relation between the security and the business objectives, which is the most important issue which we have to take in our organization. Also, the security by the end of the day, it is not as a stand-alone. Security here, it's enabler for the business. We want to protect the business. But I have to understand the organization mission, objectives, goals, vision, activities, products, services. All this information are very important. And for example, if I am managing the ISMS for a factory who are doing sweets, it will be totally different from a factory who are manufacturing weapons. Because weapons, it will be totally different. Weapons, it will be more confidential, secure data. There will be a lot of risks because during the manufacturing, if there is any mistakes, there may be some bombs or whatever, any crisis, it can happen in the factory. But for a factory of sweets and chocolate, it's not risky. The data, it may be confidential because it may have some recipe for manufacturing of chocolate, but it's not an issue if these the risks are not high as the risks which we will have it in the factories of manufacturing the weapons. Then the risk assessment, this again, it's very important. And as usually I am mention my friends in my training courses, if you want to work in security in general, there are two issues which you have to understand very well: risk management and cryptography. Risk management and cryptography, they are very important for security engineering because risks, it is everything you will do it in security based on risk assessment. Based on risk assessment, there is nothing in security based on your opinion. I don't care about your opinion. I want to understand my organization, my vision, my mission, objectives, goals, activities, services, assets, asset value, make risk assessment, and based on the risk assessment, I will define what are the proper security controls I needed, and finally, I have to monitor and report the performance of these security controls and risks to the top management to make sure that their investment in the security controls is done properly. Okay. I think we deserve 10 minutes break. Let's have a 10 minutes break, then we can continue our second session. But before going to the break, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions before going to the break?
Thank you.
Okay, no question. Thanks. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your patience and your interactive. We will take 10 minutes and we will start the second session for today. Thank you. See you after 10 minutes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back, Mohammed. Okay. Unfortunately, I forgot to disable the recording, but I will remove this 10 minutes from the recording. I will edit the record and I will adjust it. Let's continue. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. For the module number 2, the information security management systems, as we clarified before we're going on break, it is the systematic approach for managing the information and protect. It is following a very important concept, which is the ISMS process. What is the ISMS process? The concept of the ISMS process is this cycle. This cycle, it is called, it has two names, PDCA, PDCA, or Deming cycle. Any one of them, Deming cycle. Any one of them is the same concept or definition for this cycle, which is in front of us. PDCA, it's coming from the first character of each phase. Okay, then what is the PDCA? PDCA, usually this is a process, it will be used for any process require continual improvement. Any process require continual improvement, it will follow the PDCA. Where the P stands for plan, and this means that you have to plan your objectives, your processes, define what are the required results which you want to achieve. Then implement the processes, implement the design which you prepared in the plan phase to be able to achieve your goals. Then you have to check. You have to check if the objectives are achieved or not. If it's achieved, great. Is it matching the required results? Yes, great. If it's not, then this means that you have to make some modifications in the act field. You have to make some modification, or if there are some other features which are required, or some modifications which you can do it in the act phase to make sure that the objectives and the processes are improved, then compare it with the original required results. And this is the circle which is continually processed, continually processed, continually processed. It will never end. It will never end. This is very important to understand that it will never end. Okay. Now, we will speak about the ISO 27001. We will speak about the ISO 27001. We mentioned that in our organization, we have a management system, this management system called Information Security Management System, ISMS, and this is responsible for protecting and managing our information. Now, I want to prove to my management and for the external parties that I have a well-developed ISMS and I am able to protect and manage my data properly and based on the best practices. How can I prove this? It should come from a third party, which it will make an audit for my ISMS and prove that it is done based on the best practices. The ISO, it will do this exercise. It will define the requirements. It will define the requirements for establish, for implement, operate, monitor, and maintaining the ISMS. When the ISO, it will be responsible for establishing, designing, implementing, operating, maintenance, monitoring the ISMS. And it will define some requirements. It will define some requirements. If you are able to achieve these requirements, then you are doing the exercise based on the best practices. If you are not able, then this means that no, it is not. You have to review your exercise and review your implementation and correct it based on the best practices defined by ISO 27001. Then the auditor, they can audit the new changes, which you will do it, and mention if you are compliant with the requirements or not. The ISO 27001, it was developed in 2005 and revised in 2013. This is the meaning of this 2013. This means that version 2013. ISO 27001 version 2013. What are the benefits for implementing the ISO 27001 in your organization? Why I have to implement the ISO? If you want to go to your management and tell them you have to spend some money, but this, it will add a value for you and it will give a benefit for your organization. What is this benefit? What are these benefits? First of all, it will improve organizations' information security. Now, the information security in your organization, it will be well developed. You will have clear rules, you have clear responsibilities, you have policies, you have standards, you have procedures, you have monitoring, you have incident management, you have event management, you have all the required security processes, which it will protect your assets, and consequently, it will help the organization to achieve its goals and objectives. Second thing, it will be the compliance. If you are compliant with ISO 27001, you will be also, it will help you to comply with other regulations as GDPR, PCI DSS, CSSR, whatever. Of course, GDPR, this is related for privacy. This is an European privacy protection rule. PCI DSS, this is a standard for organization which require to use the credit card numbers. The organization which you are required to use credit card numbers. Then if you are implement the required controls stated by the PCI DSS standard, then you will be able to certified against PCI DSS, and you will be authorized to use the what we can say, the credit card in your online purchasing. CSS card, this is for cloud. This is Cloud Security Alliance, which is a non-profit organization, and it's responsible for developing standards for cloud infrastructure. We have star 1, 2, 3, I think, and this is a certificates or standards against the cloud standards. Then if you are ISO 27001, this it will help you too much in achieving the certifications and compliance with these standards as GDPR, PCI DSS, or CSA star. Also differentiate from competitors. ISO 27001, it's very valuable. If you are saying that I am ISO 27001, you are giving confidence for your customer that you have a proper security system and the proper ISMS, you will protect your data, especially if you are exchanging confidential data with them. This, it will be very important. It will add value for you and for your organization over your other competitors in the market. Also, it will lower the incident cost. If you have an incident, there is an attack, or there is a problem in the security system in your organization, and if you have a proper ISO 27001, then you have a clear roles, responsibilities, you have procedures, then this means that your team are qualified and they are trained to respond to these incidents immediately, to recover the service, get it up and running, search for root cause analysis, and this, it will be very helpful because it will minimize the load and the cost which you can face during any downtime if there is any incident in the company. Also, you will have the better organization by defining roles and responsibilities. This is very important because when you define roles and responsibility, each person, he will know his responsibilities and what should he do to protect the assets. Then if I am a user, the user, he should not access public email sites. We are not able to use non-business websites. We are not able to use internet for browsing websites which are not authorized, or we should not open emails which we don't know its source, and all this stuff which it should be handled by the users to protect their data and their applications. Okay. Now we covered the ISO 27001 basics and concepts. We covered the ISMS, and we covered the introduction of the ISO 27001, and we said that the ISO 27001, it will provide you the requirements which it will protect, or sorry, not protect, it will help in design, implement, operate, maintain, monitor the ISMS. Now, what are the components of the ISMS? What are the components of the ISMS? Fortunately, we have only two components for ISMS. Number one, we have the clauses and the Annex A. Clauses and Annex A. What are clauses and Annex A? Clauses, as we mentioned before, requirements. These are the requirements. We have ISO 27001 requirements. The ISO 27001 requirements, they are 11 clauses, numbered from 0 till 10. From 0 till 10. And what I want you to know that from 0 to 3, it describes the ISO 27001 itself. It describes the ISO 27001 itself. Then it is not important. If you want to understand the ISO in a better way, you will find definitions, terms and conditions, references, and so on. But the requirements which are required and mandatory to be implemented in your organization to be compliant with ISO 27001, it starts from clause number 4. Clause 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the clauses which you have to start with, and you have to implement in your organization. And if you don't mind now, gentlemen, I will stop for attendance. Then, as we mentioned, for the ISO 27001, the first thing which we want to understand about the components is the requirements. And we will go in more details and discuss this in more details later within the next few slides. The other component is the Annex A. Annex A is an appendix, but it's not a normal appendix. This appendix, it consists of the controls, objectives, and controls. Control objectives and controls itself. These are very important. It consists of 114 controls. We are consist of 114 controls. We are grouped in 14 sections. We are grouped in 14 sections, and we will see these groups within next few slides, and they are numbered from A4 into A18. From A4 into A18, and these are the controls which are recommended by ISO 27001 to be implemented in the organization. Okay, let's have a look on the clauses or the requirements as we mentioned, and the requirements, these are the requirements which you have to implement in the organization. Then when the auditor he will come, he will check it, and if you are implementing these requirements based upon the best practices defined by ISO 27001, then you will be certified against the ISO. As you can see, the topic or clause 0, 1, 2, 3, it's related to the ISO 27001 itself, ISO document itself. It's an introduction, general overview, the scope, references, terms and conditions. It's related to the ISO. But starting from number 7, this is the important slides where it shows you the requirements for the organization. Number 4, clause number 4, context of the organization. By the way, gentlemen, context of the organization, this means that the internal and external factors which are affecting the business of the organization in the market and in the environment where the organization is existing. This is very important because when you are saying that we want to implement some security for controls or ISMS for protecting data and managing information, this it cannot be done as absolute value if it's related to the organization. Why? Because as I mentioned, if I have a factory who are manufacturing chocolates and another factory which is manufacturing weapons, there is a big difference between the security controls required in both cases. Risks in the factories for manufacturing chocolate, it will be an issue, but for it's not too much, but the risks for the factories which is required to manufacture the weapons, we are really too much, and it can be critical. Then the risk assessment and risk approaches, it will be totally different. And the security controls and the way of protecting the information and the data will be totally different from the methods which I will follow in the factory which I want to manufacture chocolate, of course. And we will see more details and information about this topic maybe today or tomorrow. Clause number 5, we are speaking about the leadership. Of course, leadership commitment is very important. My friends, if you don't have leadership commitment for ISO and management systems, unfortunately, I am telling you, it will fail. Why? Because the leadership commitment is very important to provide resources, to provide budget, to provide time, to provide support, to provide, to inform the persons what is the importance of the security and to force these rules into the company itself. Otherwise, it will not. You will not be able to manage your system. And one of the examples which we can see it when you have a security policy. If the security policy it is developed by the security department or owned by the security department, a lot of users will resist and they will not accept this security policy. And sometimes we are telling you that you are affecting our business and we are not satisfied about this policy. We need access to the internet in full access, and we don't want all these passwords and all this complication in security and all this stuff. And unfortunately, in some situations, if the management does not understand what does security means, they will agree with them. And finally, you will find that you have to disable this security policy. But if the management understands the importance of the security for their organization and for their stability to achieve their goals and objectives, then this it will be very helpful. They will help you in implementing this, and they will help you again resistance, because if you will say no, we are not interested in this or that, okay, that's fine. If you are not interested or you don't want to implement this policy, please go ahead and speak with the top management. If they want to disable this feature for you or this restriction for you, that's fine. Of course, people will be afraid. We don't want to reach the management to tell them I want to access Hotmail or Yahoo or whatever. Why do you want to access? For business email? Usually we are not using public email for business. We are using company email. Then this means that you want to use it for personal issues, and this it will open a risk for us, and this it can create a problem for all of us. The other clause number 6, it is planning. To make the planning. Usually the phase of the planning, it speaks about the risks. Risk management. This is a very interesting topic, and I think we will cover it tomorrow, inshallah. Then we will have clause number 7 for support, and when we say support, we will find multiple things. For support for resources, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. These are the resources which are required to implement the ISO, the ISMS and ISO 27001 as well. You need resources, you want competence and experience. You want awareness, you have to explain to your people what is the importance of the ISO 27001 in the organization. Of course, communication, it will be very important, because without communication, you will not be able to exchange information with your employees, even and stakeholders, even if they are internal or external. Then operations. The operations, this is the security operations. This is very important as well, because this it will show you how you can run the show after you implement the ISMS and you are certified against ISO 27001. Then performance evaluation. This is very important, because this it will include management, monitoring, analyzing, evaluation, the internal audit, management review. You want to make sure that the ISO 27001 is implemented correctly, ISMS is implemented correctly. We are able to achieve their objectives. If there is any deviation from the objectives of the system, then there will be a continuous improvement, and this continuous improvement, if you have any non-conformities, and any corrective actions and continual improvement for the systems. And these are the topics which it will be covered in clause number 10. These are the clauses for the ISO 27001. Of course, you can remember the PDCA cycle. As you can see, the ISO 27001, it is built on the PDCA cycle. In phase number 1, you have clause 4, 5, 6, 7. In planning, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, which are organization context, leadership and commitment, planning, support. And in the do phase, you have the operations, clause number 8, operations. Then the check, you have clause number 9, and finally in act, you have clause number 10. This is the mapping of the ISO 27001 clauses against the PDCA cycle. The Annex A, we explained the Annex A that these are the security controls recommended by ISO 27001. They are 14 sections, starting from A5 till A18, and they are consisting of 114 controls. The classification or the sections of the annex, it is the information security policy, organization, of the information security. This usually means the roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities. Human resource security, asset management, access control, cryptography. These are some topics which have some controls, and we will see these controls in detail later in last day. And these are the controls. Now I will give you 5 minutes silent. This is not a break. 5 minutes silent. I want you to go through this slide very carefully, read it word by word, and let's discuss it later. What do you think? Do you see all the expected subjects or sections? Did you face any surprise when you see some sections here or there? Why this section appeared in this ISO controls? It should not be appear. Why it's coming here? What is your impression about this? This is very important. I want you to think about these controls. Are these controls make sense for you? Do you feel that we are as you expected, or you find that there are some controls which we are aware and you don't believe that we are should be a part of the process? I will start the 5 minutes. In silent mode, then to give you the chance to view the course, the slides. Okay, thank you.